Dear students, in my last video, I explained up to gametogenesis. So, I'll continue that explanation in today's class. In the previous class, I told you that in gametogenesis, there are two types. One is spermatogenesis and another one is oogenesis. So today in this class, let us concentrate on the process of spermatogenesis, because in your exam they may ask a question that explain the process of spermatogenesis. It is for 5 mark. If they ask this question, then what you should write? That we will discuss now. The spermatogenesis process, it occurs in the seminiferous tubule. Spermatogenesis first of all, you should write what is spermatogenesis. It's a process of production of sperms. Then also you should write where exactly it takes place. It occurs in seminiferous tubule. In my last class, I told you that the seminiferous tubule possesses two types of cells. They are gonial cell and Sertoli cells. Gonial cells and Sertoli cells. Now, these gonial cells, you know the importance of Sertoli cells. They are responsible for nourishment. Now, let us concentrate on the development of these gonial cells. I'll write it here. This is called spermatogonia. It undergoes many mitotic division. So it is diploid. Diploid means 2 sets of chromosomes will be there. What happens to this after many mitotic division? It produces many spermatogonial cells once again, and they further undergo mitotic division to produce once again more number of diploid spermatogonia. And this phase is called period of multiplication. This is called period of multiplication. And then the next phase is multiplication. Growth phase. Growth phase. In this particular phase, the spermatogonia undergo mitotic division. Once again, to produce a little bit larger cell with enriched nutrients. It is called a diploid primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte. This primary spermatocyte undergoes maturation phase during puberty, and it will produce, after first meiotic division, it will produce haploid secondary spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocyte. This haploid secondary spermatocyte, once again it undergoes second meiotic division, to produce haploid spermatids. Haploid spermatids. Haploid spermatids. These haploid spermatids undergo a process called spermiogenesis. It undergoes a process called to produce motile spermatozoa. Haploid motile spermatozoa. And this process of conversion of spermatogonial cells into spermatozoa is called spermatogenesis. So what happens? The spermatogonial cells, which are diploid, undergo many mitotic division to produce many spermatogonial cells, and they undergo once again mitotic division to produce primary spermatocyte in the growth phase. Then after that, the primary spermatocyte will undergo first meiotic division to produce secondary spermatocytes which are haploid, and it undergoes second meiotic division to produce spermatids which are haploid. These spermatids undergo spermiogenesis to produce motile spermatozoa. What happens to that spermatozoa? All those spermatozoa, now they are attached to the wall of these Sertoli cells to absorb the nutrients. They absorb the nutrients. And the process of spermatogenesis, it takes place, it requires around 74 days. It requires around 74 days. And the process of release of sperm is called spermiation. the process of release of sperm is called spermiation. The process of release of sperm is called spermiation. And how exactly this mechanism of spermatogenesis occurs? In the hypothalamus, there is a hormone which stimulates the pituitary gland. And what is that hormone? That hormone is called gonadotropin releasing hormone. So, that hormone is gonadotropin releasing hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone, it is released from hypothalamus of the brain. Hypothalamus of the brain, and it acts on pituitary gland. It acts on pituitary gland, and this pituitary gland, then it releases two hormones. One is called FSH and another one is called LH. And these two hormones, they contribute to the process of spermatogenesis. So, how exactly it takes place? Gonadotropic releasing hormone, produced from the hypothalamus, it acts on the pituitary gland, and from the pituitary gland, the anterior pituitary, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and LH, luteinizing hormone, they are released and they are responsible to stimulate the process of spermatogenesis. After this, they may ask another important concept or the question. Draw a neat label diagram of sperm and draw a neat labeled diagram of sperm and explain. So, you should draw the diagram first. You know, the sperm is externally covered by plasma membrane and it has a prominent head and a neck portion, and the sperm possesses the middle piece and it possesses the tail portion. In the head region, there is a specific part that we call it as, it is a lysosome, a modified structure produced from the Golgi body, and this is called acrosome. Acrosome, it is with hydrolytic enzymes. It is with hydrolytic enzymes. Hydrolytic enzymes. And a compact, constricted, jam-packed nucleus, haploid nucleus. Haploid nucleus. Together it forms the head portion of the sperm. Head. In the neck portion, there are two centrioles. That is not there in your NCERT, but it is important for your competitive exams. Proximal centriole which is towards the head, and there is another centriole which is called distal centriole. Distal centriole. They are found in the neck region. There are two centrioles which are found in the neck region. They are called proximal centriole and distal centriole. These two centrioles, they are responsible to release the fibers, and those fibers will form the backbone of the sperm, and it will support the sperm, and it moves in the tail region also, and it gives support to the tail. And this is called the neck portion of the sperm. Neck portion of the sperm. And after this, we observe the arrangement of mitochondrial spiral. The spiral arrangement of mitochondria in the middle piece. Arrangement of mitochondria in the middle piece. And mitochondria, and it is called Nebenkern. The structure is called Nebenkern. Hence, this particular part that is called middle piece is also called, powerhouse or engine room. Engine room of sperm. It is called engine room of sperm. And the tail portion, in the tail portion, there are two parts. One is called the principal piece and the other one is the end piece. But usually we call it as tail portion. So this is the structure of human sperm. There is a prominent head and a neck portion and middle piece, or it is also called engine room, and the tail portion. Thus, tail portion, it has the wide end, principal piece, and the narrow end piece. And the outermost membrane is called plasma membrane, and in the head portion, there is a large lysosome is present, that is called acrosome. It is with hydrolytic enzymes, and a prominent nucleus is present, which is haploid. And then the neck portion has two centrioles. One is called the proximal centriole and the other one is called distal centriole. They are responsible to form the spindle fibers or axoneme, which gives support to the sperm. And the middle piece of the sperm, it has spirally arranged mitochondria, and it is called Nebenkern. And because of the presence of these mitochondria, it is also called engine room. And the tail portion, it has two parts. One is called principal piece and the other one is end piece. And my dear students, there are out of these sperms which are ejaculated during the sperm ejaculation, 60% of the sperms should be healthy. And at least 60% should be healthy. Then only that particular sperm will have the ability of fertility. Will get the ability of fertility. So next, let us concentrate on the next concept, that is oogenesis. Here, for your benefit, I am going to explain the structure of ovary first and then oogenesis, because in the NCERT they clubbed it together. but it will be little bit confusing while reading. So if I explain ovary structure first, and then if I explain oogenesis, it will be easy for you to understand. So, structure of ovary. Structure of ovary. Ovary, there are two ovaries which are situated on either side of the uterus, and it has the following structure. Yeah. This is the epithelium of the ovary. Epithelium, outer layer of the ovary. What is this? Epithelium. And here you can see the presence of vascular network of vascular system. Here the presence of network of blood vessels, veins and arteries which supplies oxygenated and deoxygenated blood to the central part. Yeah, like this. Dear students, you can see the part, the central part which is rich with blood vessels. This particular region of the ovary is called stroma. What is this? Is called stroma. And the peripheral part is associated with follicles. They are associated with follicles. You can see the various stages of the follicles and the ovum which is released. This is called ovulation. Then injured part that I will explain now. This is called corpus hemorrhagicum, then corpus luteum, and this part is called corpus albicans. And these are primordial follicles, or primary follicles, and secondary follicles, tertiary follicles. This is Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle, and this is ovulation. Now, look here, there are two parts. The central part is richly vascularized with arteries and veins. So, this is an artery which carries pure blood, and this is vein which carries deoxygenated blood away from the ovary. And peripheral part where we can observe the presence of growth of follicles, and these are the miniature follicles, small follicles, which are called primordial follicles or primary follicles. They absorb the nutrients and they develop and they convert themselves into secondary follicles, and later after the growth they are converted into tertiary follicles, and after tertiary follicles they develop into the matured follicles. They are called Graafian follicle, and in the 14th day of menstrual cycle, due to the LH hormone, the excess secretion, that is called LH surge, that I will explain during menstrual cycle. LH surge, the rupturing of the egg takes place or the ovum takes place, and this process is called ovulation. After this release of egg or egg, that area will be rich with the damaged blood vessels, and it will become pool of blood. That area will become pool of blood, and it is called corpus hemorrhagicum. And later, those cells of the blood will be converted into nutrient-rich cells and yolk-rich cells, and it changes. This will change into yolk-rich structure, that is called corpus luteum. Later, this corpus luteum, it is called the endocrine gland of the ovary. You should remember, corpus luteum is called endocrine gland of the ovary. Endocrine gland of the ovary. And later, it is converted into corpus albicans. So, this is the cyclical event that takes place in ovary. So, you should remember this particular point. Now, with this, let us move to the next topic.